Personal Protective Equipment Safety Program. Responsibilities for this program: conduct job safety hazard analysis, select and provide proper PPE, replace damaged or defective PPE, train Plaas Incorporated employees, enforcement of PPE program, annual evaluation of program. Purpose. The purpose of the Personal Protective Equipment PPE Safety Program is to provide protection of any potentially hazardous condition. This program is designed to show how Plaas Incorporated is complying with the OSHA Personal Protective Equipment requirements set forth in 29 CFR 1926. What is PPE? Personal Protective Equipment includes all clothing and accessories designed to create a barrier against workplace hazards. How is Plaas Incorporated achieving compliance? Hazard identification, medical monitoring, selection, use, and maintenance of PPE, and training. Plaas Incorporated Safety Director will be responsible for the PPE program. Retaining of the employee is required when the workplace changes, making the earlier training obsolete, the type of PPE changes, or when the employee demonstrates lack of use, improper use, or insufficient skill or understanding. What are the standards? 1926-28 is hazardous conditions. 1926-52B, occupational noise exposure. 1926-55B, gases, vapors, fumes, and dust. 1926.95, PPE and life-saving equipment. 1926.300, tools, hand power equipment. 1926.353, PPE and welding, cutting, and heating. 1926.441, batteries and battery charging. 1926.651, evacuations. 1926.701, concrete and masonry construction. 1926.951, tools and protective equipment. What is hazard assessment? A hazard assessment is the process of identifying situations which could cause harm to employees. After determining that a hazard is present, there are basically two solutions. The first is to engineer that hazard out, which would eliminate the hazard. The second is to implement a PPE procedure which will protect the employee from the hazard. The hazard assessment concentrates on the following situations: impact, penetration, chemical, compression, rollover, heat, harmful dust, light, optical, radiation, and noise. What about PPE training? All Plaas Incorporated employees will be trained on the following points for each type of PPE: the purpose and limitations of the piece of PPE, how to put on and wear the PPE, restrictions on altering and or removing the PPE, how to maintain, clean, and store PPE, discipline for not complying with PPE policy. The certification must include the employee name, the dates of training, and the certification subject. All training must be documented. Responsibility. The following outlines the responsibilities which are expected concerning Plaas Incorporated PPE Safety Program. Employees shall be responsible to wear the required PPE in each situation. Plaas Incorporated management employees will be responsible to enforce the wearing of necessary PPE and that it fits the employee properly. All Plaas Incorporated management will ensure the employees under their direction are provided with the required PPE. Plaas Incorporated will provide required PPE to all Plaas Incorporated employees. Replace any damaged or defective PPE, it shall not be used. Coordinate with Safety Department on policy changes. Plaas Incorporated Safety Department will perform safety audits on equipment, enforce the policies included in the PPE Safety Program, maintain and update PPE Safety Program as necessary, train Plaas Incorporated employees how to maintain PPE in sanitary and reliable condition. Required PPE does not include specialty safety glasses, cold weather outerwear, welding helmet, non-specialty gloves, safety shoes, welding leather jackets, sleeves, aprons. No other personal PPE is allowed on any Plaas Incorporated sites. Head protection, ANSI Z89.2, 29 CFR 1926.100. Why wear head protection? Without head protection, your chances of getting seriously injured are very high. Your hard hat protects you from a variety of hazards. When should you wear a hard hat? Plaas Incorporated employees are required to wear a hard hat at all times while on a job site. The only exception is in a designated break and office area. Expect disciplinary action up to and including discharge for not following Plaas Incorporated hard hat policy. What about inspection and use? Periodically, the hard hat shell should be carefully inspected for any signs of damage. All other components, suspensions, headbands, sweatbands, and any other accessories should be visually inspected daily for signs of dents, cracks, penetration, or any other damage that might reduce the degree of safety originally provided. If any of the above defects are seen upon inspection, immediately remove from service and replace. The following are a few things you should never do with your Plaas Incorporated hard hat. Do not wear your hard hat backwards. This does not provide adequate protection for the facial area. Do not alter your hard hat by painting it or marking it with a permanent marker. Do not place unnecessary stickers on your hard hat. Excessive stickers may hide cracks or defects. Do not alter your hard hat by drilling holes or cutting. Do not store or carry hard hats in the rear window of an automobile since extreme heat may cause damage. Eye and face protection, ANSI 787.1, 29 CFR 1926.102. Why wear eye and face protection? Without eye and face protection, your chances of getting injured are very good. Look at the few statistics from the Bureau of Labor. Only 1% of the approximately 770 workers facing face injuries were wearing face protection. 60% of the workers with eye injuries were not wearing safety glasses. When is protection required? If hazards are present or likely to be present, which necessitate the use of PPE, certifier's name, signature, dates, and identification of assessment documents are to be used. Example is the Plaas Incorporated JSTA. Protective equipment for the eyes and face is required by OSHA in any situation where an injury can be prevented by using that protective equipment. The following are examples of specific situations where eye and face protection is needed. Dust, powders, fumes, and mists. Sources include scaling, light grinding, spot welding, woodworking, or other operations involving very minute flying particles. Flying objects or particles. Sources include caulking, chiseling, grinding, hammering, and metalworking. Injurious gases, vapors, and liquids. Workers handling acids or caustics or performing welding are subject to these hazards. Splashing metal. Sources are babbiting, casting of hot metal, and dipping in hot metal baths. Thermal and radiation hazards like heat, glare, ultraviolet, and infrared rays. Sources are welding, metal cutting, and furnace trending. Lasers. This is a recent addition to the list of eye hazards. Different kinds of laser beams require different methods of eye protection. Electrical hazards. Sources are arcing and sparks from electrical malfunction. When should I wear goggles and face shields? We all know that Plaas Incorporated employees are to wear safety glasses at all times during any type of work. The exception is office and break areas. But what about goggles and face shields? Goggles are similar to safety glasses, but fit closer to the eyes. They can provide additional protection in hazardous situations involving liquid splashes, fumes, vapors, dust. Face shields. Full face protection is often required to guard against molten metal, chemical splashes. Face shields are available to fit over a hard hat or to wear directly on the face. A face shield should always be used with other eye protection such as goggles or safety glasses. How should I inspect and maintain my eye protection? It is extremely important that each Plaas Incorporated employee inspects and maintains his or her own eye protection. Please follow these recommendations. Inspect eye protection on a daily basis. Wash eye protection with soap and hot water. Replace scratches or pitted lenses. Keep goggles in a case when not in use. Disinfect eye protection before another employee wears it. Inspect elastic headband for lack of elasticity. Ear protection, 29 CFR 1926.95, 29 CFR 1926.101. Please refer to the Plaas Incorporated Hearing Conservation Program for complete information. Torso protection. What is torso protection? You may not have heard of it before, but it is a very important element in protecting you in certain situations. The following hazards can threaten the torso. Heat, splashes from hot metal and liquids, impacts, cuts, acids, chemicals, radiation. Plaas Incorporated employees are required to wear torso protection whenever the situation requires it or directed by the project safety manager. What kind of torso protection is there? Duck, a closely woven cotton fabric, is good for light-duty protective clothing. It can protect against cuts and bruises on jobs where employees handle heavy, sharp, or rough material. Wool and specially treated cotton are two natural fibers which are fire-resistant and comfortable since they adapt well to the changing workplace temperatures. Heat-reflecting clothing, such as leather, is often used to guard against dry heat and flame. Rubber or rubberized fabrics, neoprene, and plastics give protection against some acids and chemicals. Disposable suits of paper-like material are particularly important for protection from dusty material or materials that can splash. If the substance is extremely toxic, a completely enclosed suit may be necessary. The clothing should be inspected to ensure proper fit and function for continued protection. Hand protection. Why wear hand protection? There are 10 good reasons for hand safety, and they're called your fingers. Without hand safety, the following could happen to your hands: cuts, absorption of chemicals, electrical shock, amputation, burns. How can I protect my hands? The hand protection you select should always fit the job. For example, some gloves are designed to protect against specific chemical hazards. You may need to use gloves made from materials such as wire mesh, leather, and canvas, which have been tested and provide insulation from burns and cuts. Whenever you are working with a material you are not familiar with, consult your job supervisor to make sure your hands are protected with correct gloves. Foot protection, ANSI Z41.1. Why wear foot protection? If you've ever stepped on a nail or had a heavy object fall on your foot, you know why you all need foot protection on job sites. Foot protection can protect you from the following: hot surfaces, wet slippery surfaces, falling objects, rolling objects, molten metal, sharp objects. Plaas Incorporated requires all employees to wear hard-soled work boots. Tennis shoes, sandals, or any other shoes which are not considered work boots are not allowed while on the job site. It is not a policy of Plaas Incorporated to require steel-toed safety boots, but they may be required on certain customer job sites. Respiratory protection, 29 CFR 1926.103. This section only contains a limited amount of information on respiratory protection. Please refer to the Plaas Incorporated Respiratory Program for more complete information. This section is not intended to train a person to perform operations with a respirator. Why wear respiratory protection? If you've ever walked into a room that was being washed with ammonia cleaner, you know one of the reasons we need respiratory protection. Here are a few more reasons to wear respiratory protection. Lack of oxygen, harmful dust, fog, mist, gases, fumes, vapors, cancer-causing sprays. In certain situations, a respirator can save your life. That's a pretty good reason, so wear one. Make sure you get extensive training of the limitations, use, maintenance, and storage before wearing a respirator. Again, refer to the Plaas Incorporated Respiratory Safety Program for complete information. Conclusion. The success of Plaas Incorporated PPE program is dependent on the following factors. 1. Managers must be responsible for its coordination. 2. First-line supervisors must be convinced of the hazard and must be held accountable for their employees' use of PPE. 3. All new employees of Plaas Incorporated must be trained concerning PPE. Plaas Incorporated PPE Quiz. True or false, the purpose of Plaas Incorporated PPE Safety Program is to provide protection for any hazardous condition. True or false, it is impossible to wear PPE. We then should try to eliminate the hazard by engineering out if it's, 3-2. Number 2, if it's impossible to wear PPE, then we should try to eliminate the hazard by engineering out the hazard. True or false? Number 3, true or false, Plaas Incorporated employees shall be provided with and required to wear the PPE which is required for each particular job. Number 4, true or false, safety glasses should be worn to protect Plaas Incorporated workers from liquid splashes. Number 5, true or false, leather gloves can protect your hands from all hazards, including sharp metal and hazardous chemicals. Number 6, true or false, tennis shoes, sandals, or other kind of footwear which is not considered work boots will not be allowed on Plaas Incorporated job sites. Number 7, true or false, extensive training is required before ever putting on a respirator. Number 8, wearing your Plaas Incorporated hard hat backwards is a violation of company policy. True or false? Number 9, true or false, you know you need hearing protection when you can't hear a person talking next to you. Number 10, a vital part of the Plaas Incorporated safety program is enforcement. True or false?